we expect instant gratification, especially from social media. Nothing happens overnight. Nothing worth having comes easy. You've got to just be consistent for a very long time.
Michael B. Jordan actually was dropped by the high school team, missed many games and so many basketball shots. The difference was they didn't let failure define who they were.
The world is such a competitive place. Entrepreneurship and business is a sport. The issue is if you're competing with someone like me, for instance, who it's a lifestyle, and I'm not clock watch. I'm not thinking, oh, it's 5 o'clock or it's 6 o'clock now. I've got to stop working.
J.K. Rowling actually published Harry Potter 12 times before it actually came out. Michael B. Jordan actually was dropped by the high school team, missed many games and so many basketball shots. The difference was they didn't let failure define who they were. They let failure teach them. And if there's one thing you can take away from this episode today, it's all about the mindset. Today's guest has got over 400 tenants. He's named as the HMO King in the Midlands right now. And the best thing about him is he has the same name as me. So welcome to the podcast, Shaun Davis.
Thanks for that intro, man.
What are you saying, bro?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Come on, bringing that king energy, yeah? Come on, we're going to give him a show today, bro.
100%, man. 100%.
Come on, man.
It's a pleasure to be here, man. Thanks.
Bro,
Thanks for having me on.
I know you've come from quite far today. Where have you come from?
Wolverhampton.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get here?
Oh, 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. Wicked, man.
Yeah.
See, look, that's what you call dedication, man.
100%, man.
He's come all the way from the West Midlands to like bring the gems down here. Come on. So, how are you feeling today?
I'm good, man. Really good. Really good, yeah.
How was your day? How's your week been so far? Like, it's been Easter weekend. Have you been enjoying? Or?
Yeah, with the family. I've got 2 kids as well, so I've been chilling with them, really, spending time with the kids, which is really important. I think taking time, being able to step off the treadmill is really important as well. And that's something that I'm trying to get better at as well, because from the moment I'm awake to the moment I fall asleep, I'm just in work mode. So it's like...
It's an important thing you just said there, like taking some time off the treadmill. Quite a hot topic that I've heard about recently is burnout. What's your opinion on burnout? Is that something that you see as a reality? Is it something that you're aware of? Like, what's your opinion?
Well, yeah. So my interpretation of burnout is, I think you can only get burnt out when you can't see end result. So it's like there's no way, there's no end, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But for me, what I do, I celebrate small wins. I'm very big on celebrating small wins, and that's one of the reasons why working, for me personally, it actually energizes me. Okay. Because I'm constantly, I've got these big goals, but I don't really look at the big goals. What I've divided it into little small goals, and I'm constantly winning. So it's like every day I feel like, okay, I'm getting closer. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Whereas I think what can happen sometimes, think big. I'm on it for thinking big, and I'm definitely a big thinker. However, if you're not celebrating the small wins, which I think what a lot of entrepreneurs do, is we don't celebrate the small wins at all. We're just thinking of what's next. And then you focus on this bigger picture so much that it's like, wow, I'm so far away. I'm just going to end up burning out.
Sometimes you actually think, why am I doing all of this?
Yeah.
So how do you celebrate your small wins?
Oh, you know what? Something that I'm trying to get better at as well, in terms of actually taking more time out to celebrate. But I'm very aware of it. I reward myself as well. I might go for a meal, family. I might just something that I really want. I'm very much like, my mindset is whatever I want, I need to personally feel like I've earned it.
Yeah.
Even though I can just go and get it today.
Yeah.
I feel like, no, I want to achieve this goal first, then I want to get myself, because I feel like I appreciate it more. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like that, even if it's like a materialistic item, it almost becomes, that's a symbol of, it just reminds me of the success, or reminds me of that particular win. So it's a bit more precious to me that way.
It's a bit more
rewarding. A bit more rewarding. I'm able to respect it more, but more importantly, I'm able to value things more as well, by that way.
What do you think about gratification, like instant gratification and delayed gratification? What's your opinion on that?
Oh man, that's a big topic. So we live in a world where we expect instant gratification,
Yeah.
especially from social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's, especially with the young generation coming up now, I feel like it's killing a lot of people. It's killing a lot of dreams because nothing happens overnight. Nothing worth having comes easy.
Mm.
You've got to just be consistent for a very long time. Even like, for an example, I started my business in 2018, the property business. It wasn't until like nearly 2 years later I was able to pay myself my first wage. So within them 2 years, I put literally every penny I had,
And reinvesting.
every investment. There's times I felt like giving up because I was thinking, man, I'm putting all this money into this thing. I haven't even been paid for this thing yet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm just putting all this money. Is this actually for me? And it was that thing that, and then I had to sort of remind myself, instant gratification. And what I'm looking for is an instant reward. And I just keep reminding myself that, you know what, this thing, all good things take time, and eventually it will pay off.
One of my great mentors when I was working in banking in West End, his name's Jim Smith. Big shout out to him. He was like a granddad figure, but he was like,
Yeah.
he could be young with you. He said, Sean, remember the 3 T's? Because I always just get anxious. I'm like, it's not happening. I don't know how to speak to this client and it's not coming. And he's just like, Sean, remember the 3 T's? Things take time.
Yes, I love that.
I just love it when certain people, no matter where they get to, they just simplify things.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes life is simple.
100%. And you know what? Everything has a process to it. All has a process to it. And everything can be, it's as simple as you want it to be at the end of the day. Often we make things harder than what it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you can control yourself and you got the goal and the vision in line. How do you put that into your team? So sometimes you're trying to build something and your team, you're trying to create a team and you're trying to keep them going and saying, look, it's not I in team, you know,
100%.
it's all of us.
100%.
If I win, we all win.
Yeah.
Because if I get more, you guys are coming with me.
Yeah,
you know, how do you instill that into your team?
Big question, really big question, and such an important question because I spent a lot of time in the corporate world before I started the business, and I learned a lot of good, but I learned a lot of bad. And one of the good things from it was I was able to like work out what not to do when I have my own team. And one of the things that I do with my team personally is I make it very clear of what the vision is of the company. Very clear. This is where we are. This is where we're going. This is the progress that I constantly kept up to date with how we're doing as a business and where we're going. But more importantly, this is what's really worked for me is I find out what's your goals, what's your ambition, what are you looking to achieve in your personal life, and then what I then try and do is link it to the business. Because if I can help and support them for their own goals and dreams through my business, it's a game changer. And what you'll find is that they end up thinking, you know what, I feel part of this vision now. I'm actually growing with this business, and I'm gonna get, because the reality is, and this is what people don't understand. People don't come to work for you. No one's coming to work thinking, you know what, I want to make Sean rich today. They've got their own goals and dreams that they want to, and that's at their forefront of their mind. So for me, it's very important to find, okay, what actually motivates you? Is it money? Is it time? Is it just to respect, or is it just acknowledgement that that you've done something? And once I find out what that is, okay, right, I think to myself, okay, I'm going to reward you in that way. And keep you motivated that way, and you will grow the business. So that's one of the ways I've been able to keep my team motivated in my business personally. Yeah,
fantastic. So before we go into your story a little bit, Sean, give us a little humble brag. What is some of the accomplishments in a sentence? What is it at the forefront that you've done? I just
think probably just the amount of rooms that we've got. Within 2 years, we became the largest HMO operator in Wolverhampton, in the city. And I've done a post the other day because I was just thinking, and it was mad because when I got into the business, a lot of people told me, "Don't get into HMOs; it's saturated. It's going to be hard." And yeah, it is saturated. But with me, this ain't from an ego point of view or from definitely not from an arrogance point of view. I just believe in myself. I've got a lot of self-belief, and I just believe that if it didn't work for someone else, that doesn't reflect me. because I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it my way, and my way is going to be different. And my mindset is I'm just willing to do whatever it takes. I don't care how long it's going to take. I don't care how much time I need to put in. I'm just going to do the work. And that was my motivation when I got into it. I was like, okay, well, so and so said it hasn't worked out for them, but you know, I'm going to make this work.
Amazing, man.
Yeah.
You're making me thinking of that Rocky vision. It doesn't matter how hard you hit. It matters how hard you get hit and keep moving forward.
100%.
You know, just keep on going.
And you know what? Your mind is such a powerful machine. You know, like
Mate.
your mind is so powerful. Like once you truly believe in yourself, self-belief, 50% of the work's done.
They say the mind is one of the most, you know, amazing instruments ever created.
Yeah.
It has the power to create a war.
Yeah.
And it has the power to say, I love you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not enough of us use it in the right way possible. And we all have that thing between our ears.
100%.
You know, and people need to
100%.
realize that.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Sean, did you grow up in Wolverhampton?
I did, yeah, I did.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your journey growing up.
Yeah, man. So,
you know.
So my parents have got a business, and that's one of the reasons that sort of motivated me to start a business.
Okay, what did your parents do?
So they've got like a security company. They've also got like a Jamaican patty. They also manufacture Jamaican patties as well.
Oh, lovely!
They've
I
got
love
a bakery.
it.
Yeah, man. So they do them all over the country, and that was the business acquired back in 2012. But one of the things that sort of really motivates me is my parents, actually, because you know, we didn't have money growing up. Things were really hard, and just seeing the way they had sort of motivation and just to continually go, and just that dedication, and more importantly the consistency. That's the best thing I learned from my parents, is when things were tough, they just carried on. And it didn't really matter. One of the things that I really admired from them is it didn't really matter how hard things were. They never sort of projected it on me. It was just like, you know, we're gonna crack on, we're gonna get through this.
What were some of the things that they taught you growing up, sort of thing? Did they give you any sort of responsibilities? Did you help out in any of the businesses?
Yeah, so I used to always go to work with my dad, and just being in the environment, seeing his day, and just, you know, seeing the way he conducts himself, seeing the way he solves problems, deals with issues. I worked in the business as well. You know, in my early 20s, worked in the business for a few years, so I learnt a lot there as well. And you know, growing up, my dad he's very good with money, and he taught me about money management.
Okay, that's so important.
From a very, very early age. And it's mad when you're, and I'm trying to do this to my kids now, because when you're young, you think, oh, I just wanted to spend this money. Like, I can't really want to spend it. And you know, them lessons that my dad taught me when I was younger was just invaluable, because
priceless.
You got to understand how to manage money, man. Because if you can't manage it, you ain't gonna be able to grow your money.
Do you think the education and school system teaches us enough about money?
No, not at all.
What do you think could be done to change that?
Well, I think, to be fair, I'm trying to make a change myself in this. I'm actually like an ambassador on careers. One of the things that I'm doing, I'm going to school. I'm doing talks about money, about entrepreneurship, about business, about just things that we didn't learn. And I'm actually having a say, and I'm actually working with a school. It's actually I went there for a year. In year 7, I'm working with that school specifically now, and actually having a say in working with like the school's leadership team to have a say in their curriculum, in what they're teaching in careers and things like that. And in that, we're going to enroll the money aspect of it as well. So I think a lot needs to be done.
We've got a lot of work, a lot of groundwork to be done, and put that belief system, because
100%.
You know, there's people, a lot of the audience out there, 99% just wants to be in the rat race and what job am I gonna get?
Yeah.
And people don't realize that if you're on 40,000 a year and you're on 80,000 a year, the paycheck doesn't look that different, you know. Once the taxation comes out, NI comes out, pension contribution, but you don't know what that's worth. It's only like 1,000, 1,500 difference. You know, and you think, 80,000 is just gonna come in my account. It's not like that.
No, it's not like that.
So what was school like for you?
Oh, terrible. Oh, it was terrible. My school reports were like the same every year. Like, Shaun has a lot of potential if he applies himself. I just didn't enjoy school at all. I didn't just the education system. It just wasn't for me. I left school with like, I think I got like 5 GCSEs. Done one year of A levels.
What did you choose for your A levels?
Business.
Okay.
Business, didn't learn much.
Was it like a BTEC or
yeah,
A
it was a
level?
BTEC. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was a BTEC. Yeah, like a BTEC level 3. And yeah, I didn't enjoy it. I done 1 year and I was like, you know what, I need to get out there and earn money. Just make money. So
And was this going to be your first time earning money out there, or was you doing any little side hustles before this?
I was always doing little side. I was
So
always
tell us some of your work journey then.
yeah. So okay. So I started off on eBay, had like a little e-commerce business.
Okay.
Selling all sorts of like mobile phone accessories, phone cases.
How did you do that?
I literally went to, there's a site called, still up to date, Alibaba.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
went on there. I was always looking to see, and I made, I was making decent money from it as well. Looking on there, negotiating the prices with the sellers from China, ordering the stock over, and just and selling on eBay.
So this stuff will get delivered to your house?
Yeah, it gets delivered to my house. I sold all sorts. Like, it wasn't just mobile phone accessories. Thinking about it, it was like I even bought like perfumes and at one point I was even selling mobile phones. So what I was doing was I was looking on, this was a great business model. I was looking on eBay. I was buying like broken mobile phones, usually iPhones, and when I found someone who could fix it.
Wow.
And so I was buying it cheap, paying to fix it, getting it all refurbed. If it was cracked, getting it all refurbished basically, and working, then selling it on. And I was doing that for like literally a good few years.
Brilliant. So like you started learning how to make money quite young then, and that you could just broker these things, like buy it there, make a little process in the middle, and there's the outgoing, and you've got a markup on top.
Yeah, and one of the things that I thinking back and looking back, one of the things that I really enjoyed was the process. And I think that's the key for entrepreneurship. You've got to enjoy the process more than the result, because if you're just focusing too much on the result, you're going to get negged out. As I said earlier, I started this business, my property business, the main business now, and I didn't pay myself for 2 years. So if money was not my biggest motivation, I wouldn't have lasted 2 years.
Wouldn't have lasted.
But because I've literally, I just love the process that much. It doesn't matter how many hours it takes me. It doesn't matter how much I fail. I'm going to keep on going.
Just keep on going.
Yeah.
So I always say that's so important to always do something you're inspired by and you're passionate about, because you can do it on your evening and weekends and it doesn't feel like work.
100%.
And when something's a drag, you just can't wait till it says 5 o'clock and you run out that door.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, the world is such a competitive place. Entrepreneurship and business is a sport.
Yeah.
It's super competitive.
Yes.
So the issue is, if you're competing with someone like me, for instance, who it's a lifestyle, and I'm not clock watch. I'm not thinking, oh, it's 5 o'clock or it's 6 o'clock now, I've got to stop working. You're going to find it hard. So
you got no chance, let's be honest.
So like, you need to do something where, it almost becomes a lifestyle to you, and you're just willing to put that work in.
So what was the biggest thing you learned, and was there any failures along the way in that little, like, what didn't go so well when you were doing this business, buying from Alibaba and
oh man, it was just like the stock, and I felt like the competition was super high, and the issue that I had was, at the time, was because I was only like 16, 17 at the time. I was like, I didn't have much money, so these big companies were just buying obviously a lot more stock and had more buying power, essentially.
Economies of scale.
Yeah, so it sort of faded out at the end, and I just I just ended up giving it up, to be fair, because it just wasn't making no more money. I couldn't justify. I couldn't beat my competitors.
Okay, so how did you reinvent yourself, and what did you do differently then?
So so essentially, what I then did is I went to started working. So I started working in a high-end fashion store. Okay. Which is really good, and most of my jobs have been like commission-based jobs, and so I've always been like quite self-motivated, and that was really good because it taught me a lot of business skills. I didn't realize at the time. At the time, I used to hate it, to be honest, because it's like, you're always starting a blank canvas each month. It's very target-driven. It's very cutthroat themselves jobs. They want to get rid of you. You're only as good as your last month, basically. I started off in doing that, but that sales journey and spending 12 years in the corporate world as well, it was great because it taught me so many valuable skills. It taught me resilience. It taught me how to, you know, you need a thick skin in business. You know, you're going to come across so many issues. You're dealing with a lot of different characters. And also as well, you're dealing with sometimes your back's against the wall. You're having a bad month. And from the time I left there, I then went to my dad, and I was working with him for a few years, and that was really hardcore as well, because I was doing cold calling. It's so hard because, you know, let's say for instance, I don't know you, for instance. I'm coming to you with a product that you wasn't even. But number one, you don't know me. People buy from people, so I've got to find instant rapport with you straight away. Number two, you don't know the product that I'm selling. You wasn't even thinking about the product.
Yeah.
So number one, you're trying to get me. You're thinking, who is this guy? Number two, you're thinking, what is this product? And man, the rejection that I used to face, and I didn't realize that rejection, man, it paid dividends, because now in my business, I will sit down and I will just say, you know what, I ain't moving till I got a yes. I'll just make 40, 50 calls. And the rejection doesn't faze me. I'm used to it. I've had rejection the last 12 years in the cutthroat. And then from my dad, I then decided, you know what, one of my passions is cars. I love cars.
Oh, amazing.
I absolutely love cars. And
we can talk about cars on this
podcast.
Yeah. Let's turn it into, you know, a supercar show.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So I decided, you know what, I'd love to pursue an opportunity. And one of my friends, he worked in I was buying a car actually at the time, and I've met my friend that I've been since our school days, and he was working in a car dealership, and he was like, I was telling him, you know, about my love for cars. He was like, you know what, you'd be a good salesman, you know, you would.
Yeah.
Like working here, I think you'd smash it. I was like, really? I was like, you know what, thinking about it, I think I could do it. Anyway, that was it. Like, that's what it took. It was like, you know what, I think I want to do this. I think I want to become a car salesman. Like, I want to be a car sales executive. So I went to Ford to start off with. And then I was there for like a couple of years. And again, super like cutthroat. You can make good money from a corporate point of view. You know, you can make good money. I was like 23, 24, earning 45 grand a year.
Not bad, mate.
It was decent, man. And then, you know, it was company car as well. And then again, super cutthroat. Like, you know, that's sack you in the day, like that sort of thing. People getting sacked left, right, and centre. Only as good as your last month, and you know, very, very shortly, I was within like 6 months. I was like top sales guy there and winning all these awards. And then from there, I decided to say I love BMW. That's one of my favorite car brands. And
how did Ford feel about that?
Yeah, it was good, man. So I had, you know, some really good credentials, and decided to, you know, I'm gonna go to BMW next and try and crack that.
After how long did you move from Ford's?
I was there for like 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
They say the magic number is every 2 years, keep on moving.
Yeah.
Like, don't get comfortable.
Yeah.
What would you say about that? Or would you just say where you are on your journey?
I feel like staying somewhere, actually. I feel like if you can see progression, I think it's good, because the good thing is, especially I'm going to talk for the motor trade, but in the motor trade, the dealerships that I was at, they like to promote from within. So if you stay somewhere, like even people that wasn't good, it's like they've got like high management positions now.
Yeah.
And
they've just got the experience.
Yeah. Whereas if you keep on moving, it's like you're not going to get that way. If you just set in stone, and as long as you can see the progression, and you know, I think it's worth staying somewhere if you're happy. But I just really wanted to go to BMW. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna go to BMW, and I'm gonna go there. And obviously the fact you get a company car as well, that really motivated me.
Come on.
And again, there it was just like, it was super cutthroat. I was like, man, and then I've gone from selling like £10,000 cars, Fords, to like 50, £100,000 BMWs.
What was the shift in change of clientele then?
Oh, massive, like big. So it was just dealing with just your everyday person, to now I was dealing with like directors of business, doctors, dentists, just a lot of like people that had, you know, high level jobs essentially. So yeah, they expected a different level of service. It was a bit longer, and I was thinking my first few months I learned so much as well, because I was thinking to myself like, man, is this for me? Because I'm used to like fast pace, like selling 20, 30 cars a month. Yeah. But there it was like, you sell 10 cars a month and you've done your target. And I was like, but it's very slow. So I was like, this is a bit too slow pace for me. And again, I was thinking, is this for me? But again, I stuck it down. And within a year, I was like one of the top guys. one of the top guys there, and I learned so much there.
So far, you've told me, in 6 months, you've got to the top of Fords.
Yeah.
A little bit longer in BMW. What was some of the traits you had? What was making you number one? What did that look like on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? What got you there? Because I've worked in a bank. And I know what it feels like to be on a leaderboard.
Yeah.
And you got your KPIs, and
Yeah.
your lending, and your insurances,
Yeah.
GIs, and your savings. And for you, it'll obviously be what matters in terms of how many cars you've sold, how many insurances and warranties, etc.
Yeah.
What did that look like? Like, what work ethics did you have to show, to get them results?
I think I've always been a very positive person. People always say to me, Sean, why are you always smiling? Why are you always smiling? I was always smiling. And I think it's just because I have a lot of gratitude, and I've always had that, even when I had nothing. I've always been able to like focus what you do have, rather than thinking to yourself, you know what, I want to get this, so I'm not going to be happy until I get that. And I think that sort of mindset I think it's toxic, to be honest with you, because it's like you're never going to be happy, because that goalpost is always going to be moving and moving and moving, and then it's like the happiness will never be where you are. So I've always been very good at being positive, having a positive mindset, understanding that everything is seasonal. So even when you have a bad day, it's summer's coming. Winter doesn't last forever. Do you know what I mean? So like I've always been that sort of like positive, happy mindset. And I think that's really helped me. But I think more importantly, the work ethic, to be honest with you, just that resilience, just that go get it attitude, just that, you know what, this is my target, and I need to just get there.
What makes you stay on that train? Because so many people hit the pain barrier and run back. Or just coasting. So many people going to work today and they just coast, do the minimum, or just about got there and just leave, and they can spend a 25 years of their life doing that.
Yeah.
What makes you different? What got you ahead? What pushed you through, bro?
It's weird, it's actually it's weird one. I don't actually know. that's the honest answer. I don't actually know what sort of drives me and sort of keeps me in that sort of frame of mind. I think ultimately I want to win. I want to win. I want to be the best, and that desire to win, it just means that my will to win is not for sale. So it just means that when I go through hard times, I'm just not willing to give up. I'm just willing to just carry on. And also as well, I feel like there's a bit of a stigma with people that have this attitude, because sometimes it can be seen as arrogance. Sometimes it can be seen as, okay, well, you want to win so bad that you're willing to like do other people over. And things like that. And it's not about that at all. You can win, you can collaborate, you can work as a team, you can do things ethically, and that's me.
Yeah,
that's me. So
there's always a choice. You can wake up every morning and make two choices.
Yeah,
with a sad face or a happy face.
100%.
And I know what we're choosing every morning.
100%.
And
100%.
I believe when you vibrate on that positive energy, you're only gonna. It might not be a positive day, but you're only going to see the positive things that happened in the day, because that's your focus.
100%.
And that's so important.
100%. One of the things I've got, before we move on, one of the things I've got in every day in my phone, I've had this for years, is I've always been a student of like personal development. I've always been on this personal development journey. I do a lot of reading, which really helps me as well. And one of the things that I do every day is pops up my phone in 6 p.m. It says, tell me something good that happened today. And it's mad, because it's like sometimes you feel like you're having a bad day, and it's like when you truly think about, you take the time to consciously think about what something good that's happened, is like it changes the way you think, and again it brings you back to that sense of gratitude.
Absolutely, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Something earlier you touched on is when you're making calls.
Yeah.
Something similar what I used to do in Barclays. Like sometimes you saw a very high balance on someone's current account, and you just said, all right, I need to call this person, but you literally honestly got 5 seconds to get that pitch right. Otherwise you're getting a 100%. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to make an impact. And people buy from people. So you've got to understand who you're speaking to.
100%.
So you've got to make a judgment. You've got to say, how old is this person? What does he do for a living? What are some of his direct debits? What is he spending money on? Has he got children? Where is he at in life? Obviously, the higher salary, he's got less time, and he's always working. So he wants you to be direct, straight to the point. So you got to realize, is this person a green person, yellow person, red person? I don't know if you went through that body language.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You've got to be able to read people, and you've got to be able to find common ground instantly. When I'm speaking to someone new, even just like, I'm just so used to doing it. I do it even when I'm not selling. Just like, if I speak to someone when I first meet, I'm thinking, right, okay, what I mean this guy got in common? What can we talk about? Because again, you might have heard, I'm sure you know this, the sales always in the follow up. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, even if you don't buy today, when I call you back and I follow you up, I need something to talk about.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, if I call you back and you're cold, and I'm talking, I'm going straight for the hard sale, you're gonna put the phone down on me.
That's it.
If I say, "Oh, Sean, we was talking about," I don't know, I'd say a movie, or "How was the movie last week?" or "How's your kids?" or you went to a kid's birthday. "How was the kid's birthday last week?" Or, and I remember stuff like that, and people appreciate it. It's like, "Oh, wow!" Number one, he remembers my name, he remembers my kids, he remembers what I was doing last week. It's like, man, this guy actually cares about me, and it's all for me. It's not about being fake about it. It's about having that genuine interest in that person, and you didn't lie. You can tell very quickly through body language, even over the phone, if someone's got a genuine interest in you, whether it's just scripted. So I felt like
you break that wall down.
100%.
You're breaking it down, saying, "Hey, I'm your mate now.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You're cool. We had a little chat.
Exactly.
How's little Emily doing? You said she went nursery first day. How's it all going?
Yeah,
amazing." And somebody goes, "Do you know what? I value this relationship a little bit more than the next person who's just trying to flog me a car."
100%.
I can actually walk into that dealership and I'll know Sean in there and he'll wave at me, and it becomes a little bit more personal.
100%. And one of the things as well, the great thing, when you have that sort of mindset, the great thing is, even if they don't buy, because you built that relationship, guess what? When their family member, when their mum and dad or their sister or whatever wants to buy whatever you're selling, Sean.
Friends and family.
Yeah, exactly. And that was that was one of the things I did. And I'm doing it even with the property business now. Like, I'm dealing with multiple people in the family, because okay, I want to go to Sean because I know Sean's going to look after me. Sean's going to do it right. Do you know what I mean? He's going to say what he's going to do, what he says, and it goes such a long way.
I love it, Sean. I love it, man, because look, he hasn't just gone and sat in a job. He's actually said, what am I going to learn in this job? What skills am I going to take and transfer it into my next business, into my next hustle, what I'm going to do? And so many of us just sit in a job and just coast, guys. So it's all about keep looking around you, keep looking at your next step, keep looking at your next move. And, the results will show itself.
100%.
So how much longer did you stay in BMW?
I stayed in BMW. I think it's 3 years actually. Yeah, 3 years, just over 3 years.
So you're 26 now, is that right?
Yeah, 31 now. I know a lot younger.
You're looking good, bro. You're looking good. So what happened after BMW? Where was the change? What did you decide to do?
You know what was mad? So I was literally climbing the ladder at BMW. My aspirations was, and literally I got the job handed to me. I wanted to become the next step was become a business manager. Then it was like go a sales manager. Then from there you could essentially run your own dealership. And I was on that path, and everyone could see that I was really ambitious and I really wanted to go down that path. And it was mad. I went on a really nice family holiday in 2018 to Miami. Went to Florida, went to Miami, went to a few other places as well. And I don't know what it was. It was like a switch. And this is why I always say it's really important to actually travel and get yourself out there, because, the world is such a big place. And seeing different cultures, seeing different energies, seeing the way different people live, I just got like a new level of inspiration, new level of motivation, a new energy. I came back and I sat at my desk. Bearing in mind, I've been doing this business manager training. I was guaranteed that this next job was going to be mine. And it was a decent job, again in the corporate world, decent job, 70k job. Do you know what I mean? Company car, any car you want to choose, you choose your own car. In fact, you build your own car.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? All these nice little perks. And I just decided, you know what? This isn't for me no more. Like, I want to be able to live and even... it's almost like I got exposed to my potential and what I could actually do. And I just believe... I'm one of these people where if I see it, I just believe I can achieve it. So I was like, you know what? I want to be able to travel whenever I want. The issue is me being here, I can't make money unless I'm here. I've got to be, it's decent money, but I've got to be able to, I've got to be here to make
You
the
got to
money.
trade your time for money.
Yeah. And I realized, and that's when I started looking into wealth creation, what actually creates wealth. And I realized, actually, you know what? People don't get rich by trading their time for money, and not unless you're working for, not unless you're Tim Cook and you work for Apple. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, that's a different. But ultimately, you know, to build wealth, you need to invest your money, and when you get your money working for you, money doesn't sleep. So
what was you doing with your money along your journey?
when I was working,
Yeah, when you were working, so you're on 70 grand in BMW. What was your habits
so
like?
I was just, man, I was just like, I bought my house.
When did you buy your first house?
At 23.
23.
Yeah, 23.
Okay.
Yeah,
How much was that?
that was like 130,000.
And how much did you have to put down?
About 15 grand.
15,000.
Because
Okay.
I was able to get it on like a 5%, so I was all in. It was about 15. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Amazing. So
and then
you knew that you wanted to buy your own house at a
yeah,
young age.
yeah. My parents, like, they just sort of instilled in me, like, you know, you just
You're
get
not
your first.
renting.
Yeah, not rent, but again, like now I'm an investor. I look at things differently, and probably now, I mean, to be honest with you, I've got two views on this. I actually really personally like owning my own home because I like to be able to do what I want to the house. Like, for instance, right now we're getting the kitchen done, and it's like I like to be able to do things like that and make it my own, and also not have the worry that I'm gonna get evicted, or I don't know, the landlord's got a family member coming over and he wants the land. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
he now wants to evict me, and it's like I'd like that security. But from the other point of view, that £15,000, I could have put that into a business.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I could have put that into whatever. I could have invested that. That could have been made. That could have made me recurring income. To actually buy a house and have that. So it's one of them things.
Yeah. Sean, when is the right time to go self-employed?
Right, so I'm not one of these people that promotes, and you know what, I really cringe at this actually when I'm on social media and you see these gurus that like say, oh, you know, trying to sell a course and sack your boss mentality, and leave your job after 1 month, become financially free after 2 months. It's not, you're running a real business, man. You're not running. It's not a get rich quick scheme, and that's what I do mentor people as well, and that's what I tell people. This isn't get rich fast. Like, we're not here to get rich fast. If that's your mentality, you know, I'm not for you, because you're gonna get negged out very quickly. You're gonna experience things that's gonna, you know, it's gonna wipe you out essentially. So I think personally, and this is what I did, and when I was, you know, in BMW, which was my last full-time job, I tried to prolong it for as long as possible, and I waited until I had at least 6 months of consistency where the business was earning X amount of money. I know that, right, okay, it's been consistent for at least 6 months now, so now I think now's the right time for me to come.
So you transitioned
it, and then as well, it was mad because I remember I was at my job and I was thinking, oh, like, it was such a tough decision because, as I said, I was earning decent money, and I had that security, and also as well, I was like, I had repeat business, so it came to the stage where I didn't have to work that hard. To be honest with you, it was like I would come to work and it's like, oh, Joe Bloggs is calling me. Oh, sure, and I'm ready to buy a car. My renewals up. Or, by the way, my wife's is due and my sister's is due. I'm like, okay, like so it became like that. So I'm like, man, do I really want to leave this? Like,
yeah.
But came to the point, I was sitting at my desk, and this is the time where I knew. I thought to myself, being here is an inconvenience to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I almost felt like it was being at work was costing me money, because I was thinking, right, okay, I could be putting this time into my own business and make what I make in a month, make it in a day. Do you know what I mean? It's like, why am I actually here? I'm like, what? I know, yeah, okay, I'll get company car, right, okay, but I get the security. But other than that, I know that I can back myself. And my mindset was as well, it's like, if I can just if I put the same passion and enthusiasm and energy into my own business as I'm doing here,
Wow.
because I was making this company like 40 grand a month profit. Yeah. So I'm thinking, if I just do that for myself, surely, even if I don't make 40 grand a month, like, do you know what I mean? I'm sure I can do okay. Surely I can make a living for myself. And I just thought, you know what? Now's the time. So I just did it.
So it's when your side hustle or your side business starts, you know, basically getting to the same sort of wages as what your existing
100%.
You know, employed job is at. and then you say, look, it's time to jump over and I can grow this one more.
100%. But timing's key, because another thing of what I see on social media as well, some people get a deal, and property can be very very profitable, and especially if like you're deal sourcing or you're even in rent to rent, it's like you could land and get 2-3 deals and like, wow, okay, I'm making $3,000 a month, so I'm going to quit my job next week because I've now got these deals. But guess what? What happens when a tenant doesn't pay you? What happens if you've got voids? What happens when you've got all these other unexpected costs that you didn't foresee? What happens about your tax? People don't see all this. So when I see people that's got like two or three deals and they're quitting their job, I'm thinking, that's like, who have you been watching? Like that's really bad advice. So for me, it's about of long term looking at it. For me, it was like, I think it was 18 months or 2 years, but also looking at the previous 6 months and making sure that it is sustainable.
Absolutely. So not a lot of people do talk about the bad stuff in property.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes wrong. Tenants, remember, their problems are your problems.
100%.
That's including their jobs. If they lose their job,
exactly,
your rent's not coming in. If they have a tap broken, they're calling you first and saying that the water's running up. And no one talks about all of these other things. And sometimes even neighbours call you up and say, your tenants are causing disturbance. There's too much rubbish outside. Why is there a broken chair outside? I'm calling environmental health. All of these stuff that people don't really talk about, really. And the worst thing is when you have a tenant that you've misjudged, and they give you a really, really hard time.
I've had my fair few of that.
And they know their rights.
And
it's all good having rights, there's nothing against that, because for us good people, we just want to work with good people.
Exactly.
Not for people who know the system and going, how do I play this system?
Exactly.
Where I'm going to end up, staying here for 6 months for free. I'm going to end up costing you a lot of court fees and time and effort and energy. And especially at a time like now, interest rates are going up, our mortgage payments are going up, our rent payments, if you're doing rent to rent, you get, if you're signed off with somebody over 5 years, you might have agreed every year I'm going to pay you more. So your expenses are always going up. You always along the way have to pay for insurances. Is it the RIP, the index that when you do insurances,
the PRS,
they keep going up. So no one talks about all the bad stuff. People just say, oh, you're getting that lump sum of money, attack the landlords. It's not that easy. So
it's not.
We have to commit to mastery.
100%.
We've got to have processes in place. You've got to have formulas, and you've got to have the ability to say, no, that deal's not right. Not every deal is right. Just because a deal sourcer packages up and say, that's amazing, go for this. You need to be clued up. You need to get educated yourself to know, actually, what happens if this is empty for 2 months? Can I survive?
Is it sustainable? So
100%. When did you first get into sort of property in terms of a business? So you're in BMW. Did you start while you was at BMW?
So started.
Where did you learn?
What's that, sorry?
Where did you learn? What inspired you?
Just YouTube. Just YouTube, I just looked on YouTube and then I've got one of my quotes is take massive imperfect action. That's all I did. Looked on YouTube, watched some videos, and that's a great thing with the world we live in today. It's information, access to information, but we get the opportunity to then decide, okay, what are we gonna do? We've got the recipe, are we gonna cook? We're just gonna look at it. And for me, I was like, you know what, this is the recipe. I can see it works. People are raving on about this strategy. I want to do it. So
what did your first deal look like? Talk us through.
So my first deal was an SA, service accommodation.
So for those people who don't know what SA is, if you just give us a little brief.
So it's like a hotel but without staff. That's basically what it is. And
so am I getting breakfast there or?
No. So that's the only thing. So you can provide breakfast, but it just depends on the level of service. So essentially what happens is you're going to find a landlord who's got a property, could be an apartment, could be a house. You're going to rent it off the landlord correctly using the correct contract as a long-term lease. And then you're going to then list it, furnish it. So it's a service, so it needs to be all furnished, teas, coffees, biscuits, make it look all nice, make it desirable. and then list it on online travel agents like Airbnb, Booking.com, Trivago, TripAdvisor.
Is there an app nowadays that you can just post it on and it does it all for you on different
Yeah,
platforms?
so I don't actually do service accommodation anymore, but I used to use a channel manager called Avivo.
Okay.
And what I liked about Avivo is it lists it automatically on all the different portals. So you just register with them, and they will do the hard work for you and list it. So that worked out really well.
Okay. So what went well with this? What was your first month's profit or loss?
Oh, it was great. So it was. I tell you, this is what's really important. This would be a valuable lesson actually. So it was going well until the agent, and this is really, really important. The agent basically lied to me, because what actually happens is a lot of apartment blocks don't allow short-term leases. So luckily in my contract I was covered. So I had in my contract, that you've checked this allows short-term leases. My first month, back then, I mean, this is going to sound really cheap, but in Birmingham as well, it was a one-bed apartment. It was like £700. I think it was a bit like late £600, £700 a month for it. And man, we was killing it. Like I was making like £1,000 a month. I was like, man, this is too easy. Like this is so weird. And back then there wasn't many people doing it. So I was like, had all these big aspirations to just go big.
So did you have to have a cleaner that turned up?
Yeah. Cleaning team with service accommodation, cleaning team is crucial. That's the heart of the business, basically, because after every guest checks out, then the cleaners need to come in, clean the property to a hotel standard, but also they need to replace all the toiletries, the linen, the towels. It all needs to be done and set out, so it's all nice and good. And one of the issues that we faced back then was parties.
Okay.
Because when you think about it, the great thing obviously is not self-checking. There's no staff. But if you're looking to have if you're like, let's say you're young, and in fact you might be old, but you might want to have a party.
Yeah.
But usually it's people that live with their parents that haven't got their own property, and the parents won't allow them to have a party at their house. They'll come and rent an apartment. And obviously there's no staff, is there? So back then I didn't realise about there's different things now, like ring doorbells. You can have there's something called a minute monitor that having my HMOs. And it's like a noise sensor. So if noise gets over a certain level, it will notify you on your phone and you can take action. But back then I was naive, rushing into it, didn't take no deposits, didn't have no cameras, didn't have no
So were things broken?
Yeah, like they trashed, like our second booking trashed the property, like completely trashed the property. Like,
What do you mean? Tell me more.
there's blood on the walls.
Oh
From
my
the fight. There was smoking weed in the property. It stunk of weed. We had some really nice fancy wine glasses. It was all had cigarette butts in there and ash. They broke the bed, brand new bed. The second booking. But the game changer was that really hurt me, was that we had another booking on that same day. So not only did we lose out in that booking, and you get a lot of fees and things like that, so fines if you have to cancel bookings. So not only did we have to cancel that booking, but then we had to also rectify all this mess that they created. Stuff everywhere, mess, pizza boxes, Red Bull just spilled on the floor, and alcohol everywhere. It was a massive party basically. And but you know what? When these things happen, I always say to myself, and even now, if something bad happens to me, I say to myself, okay, not what is this? Well, not why is this happening to me? Is what is this teaching me?
Yes.
And seriously, that was such a valuable lesson, because guess what? That never happened again. Because from there, I was like, okay, right, deposits, like none of this free business or £50 deposit that I was taking. It was like a £200 deposit. If you don't like it, then sorry, you're not for me. £200 deposit, because you've got to get it back. So if you're complaining about it, then it's
not for you.
It's not for you. Then I was like, okay, minute monitor. So I'm all over it with that. Then I was like, okay, what I need to do is I don't want to upset the neighbours. So I'm going to contact both the neighbours, give them my direct number, and say, look, any issues, please call me. Because what was hurtful as well was the next door. There was a family, young kids, and parties. They're knocking their doors at 4 a.m. playing knock door run at 4 a.m.
Oh.
All that sort of stuff, man. It was a nightmare. So I made all these changes. And then, it's running really sweet until 6 months later, I got a call from the management saying, "Oh, we found this listing on Booking.com." I was like, "Yeah, well, what's the issue? You're not allowed." He said it goes against the lease. You've got 7 days to take it off, or else, we're going to fine you. I was like, what? I was like, so I had to get rid of it. I was
Right.
like, man, that's crazy. So luckily, because I had it in my contract, I was able to negotiate with the agent. Like, look, you told me that I was able to do short-term leases with this. Like, it's in the contract which you've signed. So I was able to get reimbursed for all the furniture that I bought and things like that. And, I was able to get out the deal. But I was gutted because that property was really profitable and it was in a great location as well. Then I continued scaling it, and I think we got to like 8 or 9 properties.
Where did you find these properties? Just through agents?
Agents, yeah.
And you just go to an agent and say, look, I want to rent I want some properties to rent because I'm going to re-let them on Airbnb and
Basically, yeah.
booking. And what makes them want to work with you?
I think it's authenticity, to be honest, just being myself, going back to what we said before, people buy off people and finding that common ground. I wouldn't just phone them. I would go in and see the people face to face and just build the rapport with them.
Is
and
there
also
any
follow up.
perks that you offer that get you ahead of your competition? Are you offering more rent? Are you offering to provide the maintenance? Is there anything extra?
I don't think so. I don't think what I'm providing to the agents is anything different. I think I'm just very good at building rapport. So one of the things that I do very regular, and even to this day, is I will personally reward agents. So like I've got some really good agents that always pass me deals. I'll take them out for dinner.
Lovely.
Take them out for dinner, because rather than going in, because what a lot of people do, they will go in and they'll buy them, I don't know, chocolates or donuts. But the issue is that's not rapport building. That's just me giving you something.
Yeah.
But if I take you out for dinner, it's like me and you then have an opportunity to have a really good chat.
Yes.
And you can really get to know me. I can really get to know you. We can connect on that deeper level. And then also as well, the way the human brain works is, I don't do it with the intention of, okay, I've taken you up to now, you need to give me a deal. I do it from that genuine, I just want to look after you. You've done this for me. You've given me a deal. I really appreciate it. You've been working with me. You understand the vision. I want to take you off dinner. It's my treat. What do you like? What food do you like? And it's like straight away, it's like they think, right, okay, well, Sean's like after me. I want to pass you more deals. It's just the way it works.
Nice.
So that's one of the things that I've done very regular, and that really helps me to just get more deals, basically.
One thing I'm getting on your journey, so I'm looking at it, is you've been able to be a very likable character. You have a very positive attitude, which attracts a lot of good people. You have a lot of referral business because people believe in you and trust in you.
Yeah.
And you've been able to carry that along into your businesses while you're scaling so much. Like, you've got to just see some of these ingredients.
Yeah.
And the top tip is, you want a cheeky deal? Take them for a cheeky Nando's.
100%. It goes a long way, but it's just like, I just thought to myself, what can I do to like build a deeper relationship? Like, because it needs to be deeper than just work. You can't just, every conversation I have with you, it can't just be just about work, because we're going to run out of things to talk about. Whereas if I know your kids, I know your dog's name, and I know what you done last week, and as I said, we've got the common ground, then we connect on that deeper level. And, I'm very grateful and fortunate that I'm at the position now where I don't really have to work that hard to find deals anymore. I will be sitting at home at 10 o'clock at night. I will have a director of some of these big companies in Birmingham, some of the biggest agents in Birmingham. He'll be calling me directly and saying, Sean, or texting me. I'll have a WhatsApp saying, Sean, this lead has come through. I'm going to view it tomorrow. Here's a video. I've been sent a video. Do you want it? And it's like, I get first dibs on it. So it's like, I'm not competing with, by the time it gets the right move, the issue is you're competing with everyone else.
Yes.
So,
exactly. So you're trying to grab the deal before it goes even on market.
Exactly.
And
So
you only get that through building relationships.
100%. But the issue is that people don't want to do the hard work. People want it, they're focusing too much on deals. And I tell even some people that I mentor, like, look, stop focusing on the deals. Focus on building relationship. Business is a relationship business. If you're dealing with people, so build relationships, make that your number one priority, and then naturally, by default, the deals will come. It just will come. But if you're missing out, it's almost like there's a step-by-step process. Everything has a process. So if you're skipping the process, and then what will happen is, like, we're here, we want to get there. Often what happens is we're trying to jump straight to there, and then we're getting negged out because we're like, man, it's not working. Why not working? On the instant gratification. But we're forgetting that we've skipped all the other steps in between, which are really crucial.
Yes. It's bite size. You've got to take it bit by bit and slowly grow. What is the main sort of objection that you get when you're trying to let a property on Airbnb. Of course, one with flats, like if it's against the leasehold sort of agreement. If it's a normal house and it's supposed to be for a family, are you allowed to let that? Like, or is there a 90-day rule? Or
I think in London there's like a 90-day rule, but I don't think anywhere else in the UK there is that 90-day rule. So I think as long as you've got the consent, I think the other issue is the mortgage as well. So the landlord's mortgage has to consent to short-term lets. There's a lot of stipulations when you're letting, when you're dealing with short-term lets, basically. So you've just got to have your contracts, have really good contracts, but also as well have that like the amount of times of the last 5 years where I've been dealing with an agent. It was like, oh yeah, this person, we sold them that we can't do short-term lets, and they lied to us, and then doing it anyway. I'm like, I don't understand the logic, because it's like, for me, I want to be able to operate the business and just not have to worry that things are going to get taken off me, or I'm going to get a phone call. Just be open and honest and say, look, this is what I'm looking to do.
yeah,
This is how we're going to let it.
yeah,
Is this allowed? Can you do this? If you can't, it's fine, because it comes from a scarcity mindset. We live in the world of abundance. If you don't like it, guess what? Someone else will.
yes,
It will work for someone.
yes.
So you've got to have that resilience and just be open and honest with people and tell them exactly what you're doing. And not only will they respect you more, but also you will end up closing more deals as well.
Absolutely. That's so important you say that, bro, because then you're living in fear. You're looking
100%.
over your shoulder. Oh,
Yeah.
when is this place going to shut down?
Exactly.
When's the council going to be on my back? When am I going to be offered a fine,
Yeah.
for doing the wrong thing? And ultimately, that destroys your reputation. And
That's key.
reputation is the biggest thing to protect. Your own brand. What do you stand for? Who is Sean when Sean's walking down the road?
Yeah.
People know you, who you are. And the last thing you want to say, oh, stay away from that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people don't worry enough about their brand. How do you want to be seen? Do you want to be a John Lewis that gives you 100% service every single time? Or do you want to be an Argos where you're going to have to fight tooth and nail, to get a refund on this certain thing? So you're no different yourself. So I love that.
100%.
How many properties did you get to before you left BMW, or what was sort of the income coming in?
Oh, I can't remember how many properties. I remember is that I got the business profiting about 3K a month.
Okay.
Which, to be honest with you, that wasn't enough for me to leave at all. It certainly wasn't enough. But the reason why I left was because it was consistently making 3K a month, and it wasn't passive, but I think it was semi-passive. It was almost like the properties were easy to fill, and again, sales really crucial when it comes to understanding how to let a room, how to sell a room really quickly. I was very good at that.
How important was the location?
Oh, really crucial. Yeah, crucial. It needs to be good transport links. You got to think most of my tenants that are in HMOs don't drive, so being close to a local supermarket is key as well. Little things like that. Yeah, just good transport links really, and close to city centre.
You said you was in essays and then your business model changed.
Yeah.
How did it change and why did it change?
Good question. So in fact, it's changed through. This is my third different business model within property. So first it was essays, then it was HMOs. Now it's still HMOs, but my sole focus is social housing now.
And is it all straight from rent to rent?
All straight from rent to rent, yeah. So
Okay.
so basically the actual strategy hasn't changed. I've got lease options as well. So I do like lease option agreements as well.
Okay.
And we have the option to buy.
Who did you learn that off?
I didn't learn it. I just tried and errored it one day.
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah, YouTube, yeah, YouTube, yeah, man. So first it was essays, and the reason why I left essays is because I decided to leave. I decided to leave essays and change that business model when I left my job, because what was happening, I had a few HMOs at the time, and what was happening was I didn't like the fact that every month I was on a blank canvas with essays. I just felt like, in terms of financial security, HMOs was better because people were always in the roof over their head.
Yeah.
And also, there's never been a better time to rent a HMO. When you think about the business model, it's a fantastic business model. The tenant pays one rent, has no bills. It's a reduced rent. It's the most cheapest way of living. So I just thought to myself, you know what? Long term, I feel like I'm going to be more passionate, and I feel like I'll be able to help more people. And I feel like it's a better business model. and I'm not going to be worrying, thinking, I've got no bookings next month. And another thing as well was I almost wanted it to be passive. I wanted to be able to step off the treadmill. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Stepping off the treadmill. And what happens is a lot of entrepreneurs, they start businesses and they get into this endless cycle where they're just constantly on the treadmill and they can't step off. And I felt like when I had the service accommodation business, I felt like that I was beginning to become like that, where it was like, don't get me wrong, I love the job, I love work, but I want to be able to have the option to step off. I want to be able to have the option, like, you know, in August, I'm gone over for a month.
Oh, amazing.
Do you know what I mean? So I want to have that option to to do that whenever I want. When I'm at work, I'm ready to go. But when you're dealing in a hospitality business, because that's what SAs is a hospitality, it's, you know, a guest could call you, and if they're stopping through a day of night, you've got to stop what you're doing and you've got to tend to that. I mean, at the time, obviously the business was only making $3,000 a month. I was like, I can't afford to hire someone at the moment and pay myself. So it was like I just had to just managing. I was like at BMW. I was in between.
Wow.
I was in between selling the car. I'm like, my phone's ringing like 5 times. Who's that?
Wow.
I was like trying to manage it and trying to juggle everything. I was like, you know what? HMOs is great. The tenants are there. It's more long term. The tenants are there for at least 6 months. I've got tenants that have been in my property for like 3.5 years now.
Amazing.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like it's like it's not passive, but it's semi-passive.
It also shows that you're doing a good job.
Yeah, man.
That people don't need to look around and move around. You know what I mean?
100%,
You must create
100%.
a good atmosphere. And when I was doing HMOs,
Yeah.
the most important thing, even when I was vetting tenants, is are they similar ages?
100%.
Do they have common interests?
Yeah.
Are they all going to get along with each other? Because
Yeah.
if I get a 60-year-old living with some young
100%,
young guys, every time they have a party, I'm going to get a call or a phone call. And
100%.
then you're going to have to, it's not just about having a tenant there, it's getting rid of a tenant
Yeah.
there. And then they want the other person to leave, and the whole thing goes all wrong. So it's so important for you as a house manager to make sure you got like-minded people, right?
You've hit the nail on the head. Like the culture in the house can make or break your house.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things that I introduced in lockdown, and I've still got it now. It's seriously been a game. I was thinking to myself, why didn't I think of this before? Like, it's such a simple process, but it's made the world of difference.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously lockdown happened, and you know, I didn't really want to be like having access. I didn't want to be going to the property, and some of the tenants were even funny about it as well. They were like, "Oh, well, don't want, you know, loads of people coming in and out." So what I decided to do in lockdown was like, okay, how am I going to navigate this? So I decided to create a head tenant.
I knew you were going to say this. I was feeling it. I'm like, he's going to do it, because I had the same moment. But please, tell us more.
So basically, in every house, there's always like one person who's quite passionate about the house.
Yeah.
There's one person that's very like on it. So if there's like a maintenance issue, they'll be the one to report it. But they'll also be the one like, oh, you know, I don't mind fixing it, or, you know, like that one. You know, that you got a neighbour that doesn't miss a trick. It's like, it's always peeping out the window, or doesn't always notices everything that goes on.
Absolutely.
Every house, you always have one of them. So what I did, I thought, who is that in that house? Who is that in that house? And I started just calling them, saying, you know what, I've got an opportunity for you, because you're gonna be at home anyway. How do you fancy being a head tenant? So I'll give you a reduction in the rent. So I'll give you £50 a month off your rent. Also, what I'll basically do is per tenant, you do viewings. So what I need you to do viewings for me.
Yeah.
Anyone that you get, I'll pay your commission. And also, I need you to facilitate any maintenance works that needs doing. So what happens is, let's say the wash machine needs fixing, or the wash machine's broken, I need got another one delivered. I'm going to give them your number. You communicate directly with them. It gets rid of me then. Gets rid of me. Like, seriously, a game changer.
Absolutely. I used to have, I'm going to say her name, Linda. She was a right star. She was like, you know, I even actually said, you know, would you mind cleaning the house? Because somebody comes and cleans the house for 2 hours. I was like, well, I can give you that job.
Yeah.
Would you do it for the same price? And she's like, well, I love cleaning anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, great. And I was like, every time there's somebody who's there for a viewing, I've moved out a little bit now. It takes me about 45 minutes to get there, 45 minutes home. I've lost an hour and a half. So I'm just saying, can you do that viewing for me? Because that's even just like 20, 30 quid lost in petrol.
Yeah.
So you're just like, well, I'll monetize it for you.
Yeah.
And she will actually tell me if she likes the tenant, if she wants them to be a housemate, and their energy. And they'll probably be a lot more friendly to her because I'm the landlord when I'm turning up. So absolutely brilliant formula and a way. The biggest thing you're talking about right now is leverage.
Leverage, yeah.
Everything's about leverage. How do you leverage something so you take yourself out of the picture
100%.
and get it automized?
Like right now, yeah, like I'll be honest with you, like if it's not a high value task, I don't do it. Like anything else that's not high value, I just outsource it because my time is better. What you're gonna do, you're gonna try and work out, okay, what's your hourly rate? What are you worth to the business?
Absolutely.
And when you look at it from that point of view, it's a mindset shift because you start looking at things. I used to look at staff as a cost. I see staff and outsourcing contractors and things like that. I see it as an investment because while they're doing that, and it could be something simple, you know, like I'm shocking at DIY. I'm absolutely shocking. And it could have been something simple as, I don't know, Sean, like the shower pole's broken. And I'd be like, oh, okay, right, okay, let me just go in. I've got to go to B&Q, I've got to go to Wixies, I've got to, you know what I mean? I've got to then
It's
buy
a
it.
job.
So that's the time. Then I've got to go to the job. Now I've got to get my drill out, my screwdriver set. I'm not really good at DIYs. I'm faffing about with it. I've lost like 2 hours just doing one thing that I could pay someone else to do. While that, I could have been finding another deal.
Absolutely.
And it's like I used to look at it as a cost, but now I look at it as, no, you know what, that's an investment. I'm not doing that myself. I'm going to outsource that, and then I'm going to continue doing my high value tasks, which is growing the business essentially and working on the vision and the structure and ensuring that I'm looking at the business from a bird's eye view. So working on the business and not in the business.
Yes. So Sean, tell us, how did you get from this 10? Now you've got, 400 tenants
Yeah.
now. How did you scale this now? Like, how did it start gaining momentum? And how do you handle that many tenants and
Yeah, man.
that many properties? How many properties is it now?
Oh, it's like, I'm not even too sure, it's over 40 though. It's
Over
over 40,
40
yeah. Yeah, it's over
houses.
40 houses, yeah.
How
Some of
big
them are
is-
big,
how-
some of them are like 13, 14 beds, some of them are like 8, 6. I've got 4 beds, it's all different sizes, yeah.
How do you build a team?
So, here's the thing. So, I want the team. Yeah, is like something that I've had. I had a lot of trouble. I've got a fantastic team now, phenomenal team around me now, and that's one of the reasons why I've been able to build this business. And I feel like one good person could be like 4 or 5 bad people. So, in the start of 2022, which was obviously start last year, I literally reshaped my whole team. Reshaped because what was happening, I had like a lot of there was a thing called the Kickstarter scheme. I don't know if you heard of it. It was based in
Government
COVID.
scheme.
Yeah.
Where they actually pay you up to, is it 15 hours a week?
Yeah,
or
15
something?
hours a week, yeah. So I thought, you know what, this is a great incentive. I thought, you know what, I can get to help a young person who's currently unemployed, and also it's government funded, so they pay 15 hours a week. So it's like that's like nearly half of the wage per week covered. I was like, wow, this is great. So then that's what I did. So we were scaling. I was like, okay, I want to get these Kickstarters in, and it was going well. But then what I realized was I was carrying the team. So what was happening? There was nothing was getting done unless I said it needs to be done. I was like, wow, I can't actually grow the business like this. I've got this team around me, but man, I'm still running around like a headless chicken here, and I'm still doing everything. I'm doing growing the business. I'm doing the operations. I'm wearing all these different hats. I'm like this, and what I realize is what I need is not people where I need to hold their hand. Essentially, there's certain jobs in the business where you can allow that, but I want to get to the next level, and what I need is to pay someone proper money who's already got experience, who's ready to go, who's maybe got a little bit. You know what? No, it is like when I think about one of the reasons why I did well when I was in sales was I had a mortgage, I've got commitments, I've got kids, and one of the reasons I think I succeeded as well was I couldn't afford to slack.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't, even though I was young, I had commitments. So it's like I had to, if I wasn't making £2.5 net per month, I was like, I needed to hit that per month. So by default, I was motivated anyway, just by that.
So what would you say, like, if somebody didn't have responsibilities at a young age like you, how
Yeah.
do they have that same drive?
It's tough. I think you need to have that will to win. That will to win. I had my son younger, like I was 19 at the time, and you know what, like that was the best thing that could happen to me because that's the time where I started to take life seriously. And I thought to myself, you know what, like now is the time where I'm responsible for this like little human. Like it's such a big responsibility. I was a kid myself looking back. I look at pictures like, man, like I look like a baby myself. It's mad, but it's like, man, like I realized that that's when things start to change for me. And you know what? if I didn't have my son, maybe things would have been different. Maybe I wouldn't be the person I am today because I wouldn't have that sort of drive. And when you've got a responsibility where people are depending on you, it's a different level of responsibility. Because naturally, the way the human mind works is, you know, we have thoughts of giving up. We all have bad days, don't we? And when you haven't got the responsibility, and when you live in your mum and dad's house and everything's all cushy, you haven't got no bills and you haven't got no responsibilities, you're like, you know what? I don't need the stress. Your boss is giving you a hard time at work. You know what? I don't need this. And I could see it all the time. Like when I was at work, I was like, man, the way people would just get deflated. One little thing that's like, I'm done. This ain't for me. I'm like, man, like I'll go for that every day.
Yeah.
Like, but of them thoughts doesn't even cross my mind because I can't afford to give up. So it's a different level of responsibility.
But that's because you have a goal. You have a focus.
Yeah.
So that little pain point is just a little dot on to where you
100%.
need to get to.
100%.
So it's important for people out there to really put something on a timeline and say,
Yeah.
what do I want to be in a year's time, 3 years' time, 5 years, and have
Yeah.
some sort of goals. And you need to be doing something, an action daily, weekly, monthly to try and get there, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man. So what was your question again? I thought we've diverted, didn't we? What you said about, was it the HMOs? Was it how the business model or something?
Yeah. So how
Yeah.
did you get up to? So
Oh,
how
that was it.
important was your team?
That was it.
And so you had a, you said you need someone really
That
motivated,
was it.
pay them properly. You applied for the Kickstarter scheme as well.
That was it. Yeah. So after the Kickstarter scheme, I realised that the people that I had, they didn't really have the work ethic. They wanted to work part time. They didn't want to work full time. They had that sort of 9 to 5 mindset, which is fine in some certain jobs. But I needed someone who, I want it to be a lifestyle for them as well. I want them to understand that they will grow with the business. So I was like, look, reshape the team. And a lot of people just naturally left anyway because that was coming to the end of their contract with the Kickstarter scheme as well. So yes, that ended, and I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna make an investment now in these staff. The questions was like, this is where we are, this is where we're going. What skills do you have right now that can help us get there? And that helped us. And then yeah, we was able to just scale from there. And
So do you have a business partner or a manager in charge? And how did you find that person? And what was the quality and skills you needed to find?
Yeah, so we've got all sorts of different, like we've got lettings negotiator, we've got Ashley, my business partner as well. We've got sales execs as well.
How important is a partner? And what skills do you look in a partner? Because a lot of partnerships can go also wrong as well.
Yeah.
So what do you look for, and how did you know the right person to work with?
Well, I feel like with a business partner is they need to have different qualities to you. I think that's really important. They need to like look at what they're bringing to the table.
So they say two cooks, spoil the stew.
Yeah.
If you got two people doing the same thing,
Exactly.
Someone needs to be good at washing up, mate.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that's really important. And also accountability as well. I feel like when I look at other people and why their partnerships are broken down and why it didn't work out, is because they wasn't accountable. So what happens is, and it happens so many times, is let's say me and you are in a business together and I feel like I'm doing the work or you're doing the work and you don't think, you know what, it's 50-50 here.
Yeah.
And you feel like I'm not pulling my weight.
Yeah.
So again, it's that accountability. So it's understanding that you've got that accountability as well. So yeah, it works really well.
And what about someone's background? Like, how much does that matter? Do you need to be like-minded or what?
Yeah. I think so. I feel like you need to have responsibility. I feel like as long as you're responsible and accountable.
And how do you test somebody how responsible they are before even jumping into bed with them?
I feel like you test them on. Well, I think when you have conversations with them, I feel like you can very much see their outlook on life. Have they got a victim mentality? I think that's crucial because the issue is if you're always pointing the finger at everyone else, like you're not going to learn. Like it's simple as that. I always say you point the finger at you. I've got 3 points to myself because it's like you can't like that sort of. You're just not being accountable and you can't grow from it as well. So I feel like you can always see. For me personally, I'll look at have they got a victim mentality or have they got the sort of mindset. I don't mind you making mistakes. Like making mistakes is it goes with it, But it's just, are you accountable, or are you saying it's always his fault, it's always her fault?
Yeah.
It's not. You're not having that. That's for me is a red flag.
Yes.
Whereas you can own up to it and say, you know what, I messed up here. It's
your
my
hands up.
fault. I take responsibility for it. I made the decision. It was my idea, but this is how we're going to fix it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for everything you've explained so far. I've got some questions for you now.
Okay.
I'm going to fire away and maybe 1-2 minute answers.
Yeah.
But, let's see what you got.
Yeah.
So, who influenced you the most?
It influences me.
Yeah, so
Someone
one of
that
your
I know.
mentors. Yeah.
Probably my dad. My dad, yeah, definitely.
And why?
Just because I've seen the journey that he's been on. So, I've seen when we had nothing. I've seen where he is now. And my dad's doing really well for himself. So that just really, really motivates me. And just the mentorship he's given me, and obviously being my dad, he's obviously taught me most of the things I know. So it's been, yeah.
If someone doesn't have a dad present right now,
Yeah.
or doesn't have a father as a role figure, or father's too busy at work, where can somebody find a mentor or someone to look up to?
I think you know what's really good. I think get yourself out there, go to networking events, but also follow people like on social media is really good. I've met some really great friends from social media, man. Like really good mentors from social media, and when you look at someone, you see their work ethic, and people share their journeys on social media, and you see what they're up to. And especially if they're accessible, like they're in the same sort of city or whatever, you can just meet up for a coffee. You can take someone out.
Yeah.
And most people are receptive to that as well. But most people they want to share. They want to they want to give value.
100. Sean, what keeps you motivated, mate?
I think the fear of failure.
Okay.
The fear of, and not like there's difference with failing, because you are in entrepreneurship, you are failing. So you have to fail your way to success, essentially. But I feel like the fear of like just losing it all, it's like that just keeps me motivated to like another level. But I feel like motivation as well is, you don't need motivation. Motivation is very short lived. It's one of them things where you usually get motivation at the start of something, or when things are going well. But what happens is, if you rely on motivation very quickly in business, especially in property, when it can feel like everything's gone wrong, you're not going to have no motivation. So what keeps you going then? Discipline.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I think motivation needs to be part of your DNA. It's got to be inbred in you. You've
100%.
got to be
Self-motivated.
ready, and it's part of
Yeah.
you. It's not something that you switch on and off.
100%.
Motivation is a part of you. Keep that with you. Don't let it leave you.
Yeah,
Sleep with it. Wake up with it. Drink your coffee with it. Whatever you got to do, mate. When was your first thought of getting into property?
It was, oh man, I think as a kid, like, and that's why like rent to rent was a great strategy for me, because it's enabled me to create cash flow very quickly. And I used to always hear family talking when I was younger, like property is a good thing to get into and things like that, but just never really understood it. But like rent to rent sort of enabled me. It's almost like rent to rent is a good starting strategy, I think.
There's a low barrier.
It's a low barrier entry.
Yeah.
And also as well, you can make more money off doing a rent to rent than you can do off like an investor who buys single let property, and you're going to net like £200 a month, £300 a month. Rent to rents, I've got some rent to rents making over £1,000 a month from one property, just almost semi-passive, and I've had them for years.
So let's do the maths. £1,000 of property, he's got 40 properties, £40,000, times it by 12 months, 480 grand. Boom, $500,000, mic drop. Jeez, you're taking me out for lunch, bro. Sean, tell me about some of your losses. What's been your biggest loss, and how did you bounce back from it?
Oh, my biggest loss has been, I think it's probably from like tenants, So you touched on this earlier when you talked about the realities of property investing, and when you get a nightmare tenant that knows their rights. I had one of them recently, and to be honest with you, that was my biggest loss. Like, it cost me around £9,000 in damages. You know what? Actually, tell a lie, I think it's more than that. Wow. So what I would say, it cost me £9,000 directly in court costs and rent loss and all that stuff. But what I don't take into consideration as well was this: he lived in a 7-bedroom house, And all the antisocial behaviour, I lost good tenants. And what happened in that time of trying to get him evicted, all the other good tenants were leaving. But the issue is, because he was keeping the house in such a mess, I struggled to let the house.
Wow.
And people kept leaving. So all the marketing costs that was involved, all the loss of rent that I had tenants trying to withhold rent from me and all that, it was literally a nightmare situation.
Wow. How do you handle risk? And what is your backup?
Right. Okay. So risk, the way I handle risk is, in business, you've got to be able to make decisions really quickly. I think what holds a lot of people back, and one of the reasons I'm able to close deals very quickly, and one of the reasons I've been able to scale, is I make a decision like that. I'm like, okay, done. I say yes and almost worry about it after, which I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but I can see the figures work. I'm like, okay, I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
I mean, I'll worry about the rest after. But one of the other ways I manage risk as well, and I did this when I left my job, I'll do best case, worst case, likely case. And I feel like I actually write it. If I'm struggling to make a decision, I'll actually write it down. What's the best case? Or think of all the reasons. What's the worst case? And what's the most likely case? And usually when you look at it like that, you think actually it's not that bad.
Are you more risk averse or a risk taker?
I'm more of a risk taker.
Yeah.
Yeah, more of a risk taker.
If you were doing what you're doing right now, but you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Ooh, I think I would. I think I'd get investment earlier. I've only recently started to get investment.
Okay.
Up until now, I've just been self-funded, just reinvesting the profits back into the business. But I think I'd definitely get investment earlier because it just means you can scale quicker. So I'd probably be on 800 rooms if I bought investment.
Wow.
Quicker. So it's just I
But
think
you've learned lessons along the way.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
sometimes slow and steady win the race, as they say.
100%. Yeah, 100%. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't change anything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't change anything. I'm happy with the way the journey's gone.
Sean, when it's all said and done, what does it look like? What does that paint look like, mate?
Oh, all said and done, me sitting on the beach somewhere, sipping cocktails every day. Nah, joke. You know what's mad? It's like when I'm on holiday, I can't relax that long.
Yes.
I've got probably 4 days in me. I'm like, okay, I need to do something productive now. I just feel like I just want to build a legacy. I just want to be able to build generational wealth.
Yeah.
I'm currently looking at M&A now as well, mergers and acquisitions.
Is that with D?
Yeah, with D. Yeah, man. D's a really good guy, and looking into that. And I want to buy businesses. It's a great method of wealth creation as well. So I'm currently looking into that.
Are you going to buy any houses with some of that generated cash?
Yeah, 100%. So here's the thing. My mindset's changed a lot on this topic because we own a business. So with houses, you can obviously it's generational wealth. So you can obviously you've got the capital depreciation, you've got the cash flow, but you can get the exact same thing with buying a business. You've got the capital depreciation, and you've got real cash flow. So my aim of the game is, and my next thing now is going to be buying businesses. That's going to be my sole focus, and then with the profits I make from that, I will buy houses
as a store of value.
So yeah, there's a store of value. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Is there a question that you wish that I asked you?
No, I think you've covered a lot, actually. I think you've covered a lot.
I like that answer. Yeah, I like to be thorough and stuff.
Yeah, man.
And finally, do you have a question for me, Sean?
Yeah, man. Just tell your journey. I want to find out a bit more about you. I know we spoke briefly at that Savoy's event, but what's next for you?
So I think it's less about me now. I've come to that content part. I've got the house that I want. I've got the cars that I want. I've got a nice lifestyle. I've heard M&A a lot, mergers and acquisitions, etc. It's not going to be for me because I'm very lazy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've done my time. I've done my 7 days a week. I've worked in employed jobs. I've worked very hard as a builder for 6-7 years. I've built what I've had to, and I'm very good at brokering deals now. So I
Yeah.
can try to earn that 25%
Yeah.
just by brokering the deal, getting it under market value and adding some value for the use case of the house.
Yeah.
I'm very much generational. So it's not just about cash flow, but I've been able to generate cash flow and store value and have equity. So I'm in a very good place. So
Yeah.
I don't have to get any FOMO about what's going around me. I have to stay rooted and go, you are comfortable and everything's good. And now it's just about growing a brand, because I think the biggest thing is attention.
100%.
If you can get attention, if you can be a good soul, an honest person, and people buy into you, then you can just be a connector.
Yeah.
So yeah, you like what I do, you like what I say. What do you want? Okay, I'm a very good judge of character. Cool, go and see this guy, and you can naturally, do things like that. And my actual end goal, and I don't know, I was talking to Lewis, and Lewis does another podcast. I think it's Lewis Jackson is his surname.
Oh yeah.
But he does a podcast also, and we spoke first time last night. And he's a brilliant guy as well. And if you're not watching his podcast, give him a watch as well, guys. He's a little bit more raw as well. He's a great guy. And we were talking about, it's not about competition, it's about collaboration.
100%.
If I find somebody's good, I'll be like, hey, go and check his podcast and
100%.
jump on there as well. Like, let's help each other out.
Yeah.
Why do you got to tear someone else's tree down?
Clubs in the bucket mentality, isn't it?
There you go.
Yeah.
And so I really want to build schools.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Africa, Ukraine when it's all said and done, Southeast Asia.
Love that.
And I'd love to be somebody who made a YouTube channel on, hey, let me show you a little bit about lifestyle.
Yeah.
Let me show you, these are the places you want to eat and drink when you're around these areas. I've met these local business owners. They respect you because they like you. It's advertisement for them. Same time, hey, we're building a school here, and I know a little bit about building work. So I'm like 600 wide, 1 meter deep. We're doing foundations here. Let's put the concrete infills, engineer bricks. This is how they do it here. So I'm very passionate about that. And by the end of it, we build a school and leave that behind. And imagine having 80,000 followers and go, hey guys, I'm going to give you a little spreadsheet that you can all use. It's going to be providing you more than a coffee. The value. So could you give me £1? And all 80,000 say, yeah, here you go. There's 80,000 there. We can build a school.
Love that.
That's what the world needs right now, is a few people just with imagine, there was a handful of people who had that sort of vision and that thought, the world would be such a different place.
100%.
Why do people want to try to escape and leave their countries, and countries lose their best people, who get visas and work visas and build up other economies? Why can't they build their own? And as you said, near the end is about legacy. That's what legacy looks like for me. Be remembered, you leave this earth, and there's a plank that somebody wipes up and go, yeah, this guy Shaun Land built this 30 years ago. Do you know what I mean? That is legacy. That's how you 100%. Live on. Not a statue that somebody shits on and go, yeah, he bought a load of houses and stuff. I don't think property is my passion anymore. Property is a vehicle to earn money. And it comes to a certain stage when you've finished stripping paper off the walls, when you finish laying floors and helping plastering and putting the first coat on and running around in a van and 6-inch screws, gold screws, silver screws, and all of that. Life is a journey and it's beautiful when you're learning, but 100%. When it becomes repetitive, it's like, hey, I'm worth more than this. I get one shot at this to be on this planet. I want to be a role model. If I've learned something and God's gifted me and parents have gifted me with all these gifts, how do I use all of this and leave it behind to another generation? Because a lot is being lost. Let's be honest. 100%. The belief system's being lost by people. People are suffering from mental health. And they're being left in a rat race, and it just feels like people are just being conditioned in a will. And soon as it's like leaving the house without their underpants on when they're opening their iPads.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? They need an iPad in their hand, otherwise they feel naked. They need the TV conditioning them consistently. Music is at a frequency where they're being conditioned. Everything's just being conditioned. And who's stepping out and saying, look, I've got a different method. My granddad taught me this. My dad taught me that. I've learned 20 years as this. I'm growing at a rapid race. I can teach you the same. Guys, find that person who vibrates on that frequency, because that's all we are. We're 70% water. Even when you put a music up here and you put it next to water, the waves in that water will move. That's us. When we listen to certain music, why does it inspire you? Why does it push us? And the quicker we realize that, and we're more than just this person just sitting here.
100%.
The quicker we sort of get ahead and fall in love with what we do. It's not anyone suffering from mental health right now, don't be selfish and just think about yourself. Think about your purpose and what you can do for others. Very quickly, that mental health will disappear.
Yeah, I love that.
That's the way to finish, right?
Yeah, man.
Sean, shout out how people can follow you and anything that you offer currently,
man.
because a lot of people be interested about your rent to rent and
Cool.
saying that's a low cost barrier entry, and I want to do some of what Sean's doing, and I'm from a different area. How can they reach out to you? How can you help them?
The best place is Instagram. It's @_Shaun, so it's SHAUN _Davis, DAVIS. That's the best place to get hold of me. In terms of products that I offer, I've got an academy, which is like a private mastermind group. We talk about mindset, health, and wealth. We help entrepreneurs with that as well, aspiring entrepreneurs as well, of all levels. And I also do a live event-to-rent day. I only do this about 3 to 4 times a year, though. So you just have to just check out when I announce it next as well. Yeah, that's what I currently offer.
Amazing, guys. So I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope we provide you loads of hints, tips, and gems on this podcast. I hope you've been inspired today with the opener and all the tips that Sean has given us. So don't forget to leave us a comment. Tell us what you thought of it. Leave a comment for Sean, a question that I may have not asked. And please, guys, share this with some of your friends and family because it might inspire somebody else. So I'll catch you on the next one. And thank you for tuning in again. Peace out.